If you want to learn how to make a groovy morphed text motif like this one in Illustrator, you're in the right place, and that's here in the Work Smarter Not Harder dojo with me, Tony Harmer, aka the Design Ninja. Okay, so I'm here in a new document. Now, it does help if you can kind of sketch out what you want to create in terms of the motif, although that's not essential. But here I have exactly that. You can see I've got an image on this layer at the back here. And then, of course, you will need your text. Now, for this one, I've chosen to use hobo because I'm just feeling a bit 70s that way today. So I've got the words I want here, so be happy together. Now I need to start building the actual warps for the motif. So what I'm going to start off with is the ellipse tool. You can tap L on your keyboard to get that. And I'm going to draw from the center outwards. So I'm going to hold down Option or Alt and Shift and then draw outwards like so, just to get the outer boundaries of where I want the text. Now at the moment mine has a black fill and no stroke, and I want that to be the opposite here. So I'm just going to hold down Shift and tap X, although of course you could do that from a number of places to set yours up in the same way. Now I'm just going to use my right arrow key here to nudge that across just a little bit like so. Okay, so it's kind of matching up with my sketch. Then it's the job of dividing it. Now, what you can do is you can get something like the pencil tool. If you tap N for the pencil tool, make sure nothing else is selected and draw it in. That's one way you can do it. If you're fairly confident with drawing, you can do that. And then you could use the smooth tool to make it nice and smooth, because the less points, the better. Now the smooth tool lives here with the pencil tool in the panel, but if you double click on the pencil tool in the toolbox, you can make this option to use the Option or Alt key to toggle the smooth tool active. And then all you need to do is hold down that key and just brush across, okay, to make it nice and smooth. Alternately, if you want worry-free smooth curves, you could use the Curvature Pen tool, and that's what I'm going to use next. First of all, I'm going to deselect the path that I have active there, hold down Shift and hit the backtick key on my keyboard to select the Curvature Pen tool. And then I'm just going to click once here. I'm going to aim more or less for the middle here and click. And then I'm going to come across to this side here and click. And the beauty of this tool is that I don't need to switch to another tool to bend the path around or even add and remove points. That's pretty easy. If I just add one here, for example, I've got a new point just there, as you can see. And if I don't want it, all I need to do is click on it to make it active and hit delete, and it goes away. All right, so now I've actually got the necessary paths I want here. So I'll leave this one active and then go up to the object menu, come down to the path menu, and in there choose divide objects below. Okay, and it will then split up that ellipse into the two shapes. I'll then select the other path at the top here, and once again up to the object menu and down to path and choose divide objects below again. So now I've got three distinct shapes there. And of course, if I wanted to, I could have also used the Pathfinder. It's just that sometimes these things work better if they're drawn. Now I can bring my text into place, and I've got all of these center aligned, by the way. They're all point text and all center aligned. Their position, however, doesn't really matter. You can then make sure they are at the very back. So let's select all three and right click there and then choose Arrange, Send to Back. And then just select them in turn. So I'll select the first two at the top here, go up to the object menu, down to Envelope Distort and choose Make with Top Object. That's worked out pretty well. So I'll go ahead and select the next pair and repeat that just there. That's not too bad either. And then I can go ahead and select the last pair and go ahead and do that one more time. Now, of course, it might not be exactly what you want, but the beauty of this is that it's actually live. The text is still live and the shapes are still live. So what I could do is get my direct selection tool and come up to this warp, for example, at the bottom here, and I can change the anchor points around so I can move the actual shape if I want to as well. So I can select any anchor point and move it and move other ones as well to just bend it around so I get the shape that I'm actually after. Now you can also add and remove anchor points, but you'll see that if I tap P for the pen tool, it doesn't intelligently switch. This is one of the instances where you do actually need to use the Add Anchor Point tool if you want to actually add an anchor point. Okay, so if I click just here, for example, to do exactly that, and the Subtract or Delete Anchor Point tool to remove anchor points that you don't need as well. But those options are all there. And of course, you've got the control handles too, so you can work with everything there to get it just the way you want. Just to show you, you can edit the text as well. So if I go ahead here and get my selection tool, I'm going to double click on happy here. And then let's change this to groovy, like so. Why not? And you can see that it just bends within the warp. Now, just so you know, there is a gotcha with this. You can see that now whenever I select it, it selects the text and not the warp. And what you can do here to rectify that is go to the Object menu and come down to Envelope Distort and choose Release, and then just reselect both things, although they are active anyway, and go Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Top Object, and everything is restored. All I'm going to do now is to group these things together, Command G or Control G. Let's make my Appearance panel visible here. And I'm going to add a new fill. Hold down Command or Control on Windows and hit slash. Okay, that adds you a brand new fill. You can see that it's active here as well. Then just hit the period key, full stop, on your keyboard to turn it into a gradient. Let's make that radial and then let's model our gradient. So I'm going to double click on the swatch on the left hand side here and I'll choose a nice red color for this one. And then I'm going to click underneath the ramp and double click on that and choose a yellow color just there like so. Then just across here to about sort of 70%, double click on that and I'm going to choose a blue color. Now I've got loads of swatches loaded in here. Okay, just in case yours looks different, which it probably will. Okay, but that's easy enough to do. You could use any of the default colors as well. And then I'll choose kind of a magenta color just there. That's working quite nicely. So what I'm going to do then is add a background for this. So I'll just get my rectangle tool and I'm going to use the draw behind mode. So hold down Shift and tap D, which means it will draw him back. Okay, and then just drag a rectangle out like so. All right, and then I can simply hit the comma key on my keyboard to fill that with a solid color and then just choose a different solid color. So I'll choose black here or maybe a very dark gray. There we go. And I think that could have one final touch to it, and that's to add a bit of a stroke around the characters. So I'll go back to my appearance panel. This is with the group selected here. Change the stroke color here to maybe white. Make it slightly larger. In fact, I'm going to make it twice as large as I actually want. So maybe I want like a 6-point stroke around things. So I'm going to go up to 12 just here and then pull this down beneath the contents. And you can see I've got that nice 6 points, but it's around the sides, not covering up any of the text. And there you go. That's how you can make this groovy warped text motif. It's completely editable. You can move everything around. So if you need to move anything like this, nice and easy to do. And there you are. That's it for now. I'll see you next time here in the Work Smarter, Not Harder dojo. See ya.